Welcome back to the Himthorn Media Podcast. If you haven't already, give it a subscribe. What I want to get out of this podcast is talking to everyday creatives, whether it's full-time, part-time, whatever, but people walking the walk and trying to better themselves. Today's guest, my very good friend, one of my best friends, Chris Mozingo, is such an example of that. He makes no excuses in his life. He has kind of this mantra that's like, if you want something bad enough, you will show up, you will do it. And that reflects in his workouts, that he wakes up at 4 a.m. 5 out of 7 days. Insane. He practices his drums during his lunch work break every day. So whenever I want to make excuses in my life, I often reference Chris and think, okay, step up your game. That's what Chris is doing. Stop making excuses. The cocktail he chose today was the Wisconsin Old Fashioned, which a lot of cocktail snobs like myself might stick their nose up at because it has Sprite involved, but it was actually delicious. So what do I know? Without further ado, the Wisconsin Old Fashioned. Start off with your rocks glass. We're going to top it off with ice. From there, take your E&J brandy, and we're going to give ourselves 2 ounces of the brandy. From there, we're going to go to our secret ingredient, which is Jarrow, a nice old-fashioned cocktail mix. We're going to go with 1 ounce of that. Get overly upset that your light in the background went out. It happens. No fear. Replace it. Life goes on. From there, we're going to add some bitters. Be sure to miss the glass completely and pretend like everything's fine in your life. Take a can of Sprite. Yes, Sprite. And add it to your cocktail. Beautiful. Give it a light stir. And maybe a little tap. From there, our next secret ingredient, which is hand-picked cherries from Wisconsin, soaked in the E&J brandy. Very nice. This is a Wisconsin Old Fashioned, so we are going to use a cheese grater for our garnish. Take an orange, give it a nice garnish squeeze, ba-boom. From there, if you want to get extra fancy, because this cocktail does have Sprite, make a nice little rectangle. And then add in your cherries with the sword, stabby stabby, and there you go. Here is your Wisconsin Old Fashioned. Enjoy. Do you mind if we try it?
I would love it if we tried it.
Let's do it. Cheers, buddy.
I hope you like it, because if you don't...
The tap. It shouldn't be that good.
Exactly.
And it is.
It's a cheap drink.
That doesn't suck.
Right? Yeah, about 12 of these later.
It tastes, this is going to sound bad. It tastes like if I bought like a pre-made Old Fashioned in a can. Yeah. But it was super high quality. Does that make sense?
No, it really does.
Okay.
It's one of those where I feel like if you bought it in a can.
It's like Old Fashioned in a can.
But it still has a decent alcohol percentage as opposed to...
It still has the bitters.
The can would be no more than 5%. We both know that.
You're right, because it still has the bitters.
What's the point?
It still has the whiskey. It still hits.
Yeah.
It's like if you ordered an Old Fashioned and you got that, you'd be surprised. But if you knew you were ordering that, that is delicious.
Well, how you order that, at least in Wisconsin.
Right.
A brandy Old Fashioned sweet.
A brandy old... See, now they're making it fancy.
The sweet is what's the white soda.
The white soda.
Yes.
I was talking to my mommy today, and I said I was talking about you in this very important podcast. And I was like, we're doing the Wisconsin Old Fashioned, and she goes, "What is it? Got cheese in it?" Which is a lame joke, but
it's pretty good.
I thought it was worth bringing up. This doesn't suck, man. So this was is this the? Hey, man, that's a pretty looking drink.
It's pretty.
That's a pretty looking drink.
It's pretty.
Is this like your go-to when you travel to Wisconsin?
Yes, for sure.
So it's like you're in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Let me order 1 or 12.
It's also because my in-laws are from Wisconsin, or at least my father-in-law was born in Green Bay.
That was my next question. Like, I know you and your dad go to Wisconsin pretty frequently, right?
We do.
So I thought it was maybe your dad, but is it or is it both?
So it's a little bit of both. My dad, he grew up in Iowa, and the city's name is escaping me.
Which is also Wisconsin.
Basically the same place.
Yes. Is it your dad too? Yes, he grew up in Iowa. Now I'm confused. So
right.
He grew up in Iowa.
Yes, he did. So when he was 6 years old in 1966, that's when the first year of the Super Bowl, Bart Starr was the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, and he was going on a tour around the shoe stores in the northern area doing autograph signings. And my dad, as a 6-year-old, went and stood in line and got a photograph picture of Bart Starr and was a fan ever since.
My apologies. I feel like you already said it. Who is that?
Bart Starr is the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, and
was in the first Super Bowl ever.
Yes.
There you go. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is weird because the Super Bowl just happened.
Yep.
This will probably be out in 2 or 3 weeks, but the Super Bowl is literally just Sunday. It feels like it's such a big event that it's been around like as long as the World Series.
Yeah.
It's not that old.
No.
Which is weird.
It is weird because football is pretty old, but
how old is football? Pop quiz. You're like, are you going to ask me questions? Like, no, it's casual. How old is football?
Packers,
5 minutes in.
The Packers were founded in 1919.
There you go.
So
that's very
it's
old.
Football is older than that for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
So professional football has been around 100 years
For
then.
a hot minute, yeah.
If I did the math correctly. But the Super Bowl is just like 50 years? Like relatively recent. If your dad was a kid.
Yeah, right?
That's weird. Like that doesn't seem right, but yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
To go back to our original my original question, Wisconsin, so that's where your dad has the connection.
Yes.
And then your father-in-law
yes.
is also
born in Green Bay.
Okay.
And so he is well versed with all the bars up there. And anytime we get together for a family event, this is always the drink we have.
So this is very close to home.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I want to start the podcast. Like, what's your go-to drink, or at least a drink that like you have a nice story to?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to. It could be a go-to or a nice story, and like that checks kind of all the boxes. Not only is there a lot of family history tied to it, but you drink it, I would say, several times a year.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever been to any kind of a family gathering or holiday
that was not
where we have not had at least 2 of these each.
We party. Not
party.
Not to put you on the spot. This is my first time making it. I still got to film the little video for it. Yeah. Is this what it tastes like?
On point.
Okay.
I would say something.
Sure.
I'd be like, it's usually way better than this. I'm so
nice
sorry.
try, loser.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had you over my shoulder when I felt like a scientist. I'm like, is it 2 ounces of this?
Well, you are a mixologist.
Aspiring. One day. So you obviously helped. You brought all the ingredients. You brought the brandy you use. You brought this stuff called Sprite. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah, I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Brandy cool. That was unique. And then the mixer. You said you could only buy the mixer from Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's the only place I found it.
So that's
Maybe
cool.
you can buy it elsewhere. I haven't found it elsewhere.
I'll check Total Wine. That's been my go-to, which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, great prices.
Friar Tuck's has been my go-to. They're still great.
Oh, yeah.
But I had a Total Wine gift card for my mother-in-law, as one does. And I was like, this place is probably fine. I went there. It's like Toys R Us for alcoholics. It's amazing.
It's not bad.
It reads your diary and it's on the shelf. It's really cool. So I'll check it. So the mixer was cool. But what I want to talk about is our garnish.
Yes.
We have oranges that I bought from Schnucks.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is cool.
Uh-huh.
But the cherries.
Cherries.
That I learned today are what now?
So my wife's family, so the in-laws, we all go up to Green Bay, Appleton area to pick cherries every year around June and July, depending on when the cherries are ripe for the picking. But anyway, we do that, and we've done that every year since my daughter was born, my first daughter.
No kidding.
So about 7 years now.
She was born the year Sarah and I got married, so I can kind of guess her age pretty well if I'm in line with my wife. So she'll be turning 8 soon.
She turned 8 on this last Saturday.
Yeah, okay. It was right there. So she was born just like a month before we got married.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
And I was still at the wedding.
You were still at the wedding.
Yes. Thank you, wife.
Which, like, I completely glazed over because I was in my own 25-year-old head getting married. Like, of course you got to be there. But looking back, you're a new dad. That's hard. That had to be super hard.
Well,
I probably didn't thank you enough for that. Thank you.
Well, sure.
That meant a lot.
Of course. Would not have missed it.
There you go. No, this is a super good drink. You pick the cherries. You're the first guest out of all the episodes to pick their own garnish, which you said you'd bring some of the ingredients, and I thought you just had to buy some from Wisconsin, like you did.
Sure.
I didn't know it was this
personal.
This personal.
Yeah.
Like, I handpicked these cherries.
Yeah. They were very carefully selected.
I handpicked this orange from the grocery store, but I'm not bragging about
skill
it.
In itself. It's a weird flex. But
weird flex, Chris. And then you soak the cherries in the brand you were drinking.
Yeah.
Very good.
Right?
Solid drink, man. I am surprised how good it is.
Right.
I feel like, not to make a shot, but I feel like snobs, maybe, or people such as myself, could be like, the Wisconsin Old Fashioned might get shit on, you know?
Yeah, or
for
that
sure.
or that it's supposed to be made a different way, which I totally understand.
And my 2 cents on that is if you ordered an Old Fashioned expecting, I think we already touched on it, but like, and then you got this, you could be surprised. But if you know you're getting this, it's great. Yeah, I like it. Switching gears. Part of the show is I want to talk about like work-life balance, creatives, how do you find time? You're a dad. You have a day job. You are not only a great candidate that fits all those boxes. I want to talk about one very specific thing in regards to that is, let's say you're a musician or you have any creative craft. The number one excuse is, I don't have enough time. Because we all don't have enough time. Blah, 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 blah. We've all been there. You, and I don't know if you're still doing this, but I know you've done it a lot before, and I think you still are, would have your drum set at your work, and you would practice during your lunch breaks.
Yes.
Is that still happening?
Absolutely.
That's insanity.
It's the only way.
I have to bring that up because and I can relate that to so many aspects of my life. I don't have time for this, or you can go complain, which is untrue. I'm still on TikTok. I watch movies. I can be lazy, you know.
Yeah.
So this whole like I don't have time thing is just an excuse where if anyone watching this is a creative and have the excuse I don't have enough time, you're like the perfect example of a human being that just destroys that. So please talk about that.
Sure. I think that you will always, no matter who you are, you will always make time for the things most important to you, regardless of how much time you think you have in the day. If it's important to you, you will make time for it.
Shots fired, Chris. Yeah, that's huge.
If it's
do you care enough?
Do you care enough?
Oh, that hurts.
Whether it's waking up really early,
yes,
or whether it's
we'll get to that for sure.
Sure.
Gosh, that's so true. Because you vote with your time, right?
Yeah.
And so many times I vote the wrong way. Whether it's too many of these or whatever. Sometimes that's necessary. Take a break. Have a good time.
Yeah, of course.
But, man, you practice on your lunch break. I don't think anyone listening does that. And if they do, you're next level.
Well, drums are also a
loud instrument.
So it's
okay. So is that a necessity?
I haven't played drums in my own house in like 9 years.
That's true. Yeah. I got all my amps set up over there with my guitars, and they're rarely on.
Yes.
Because it's obviously with kids and whatnot, it's a nuisance. But still, even if you could practice at home,
it'd be hard.
It'd be hard.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's more of a, and maybe I'm wrong, but more of a, you're fitting it in, the pro goes to work, you're making it happen. Do you get 30 minutes or an hour for lunch?
I get an hour for lunch.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you eat first and practice, or vice versa?
It depends. I mean, I guess I usually 98% of the time I eat first for sure.
This might be a stupid question. Do you ever feel bitter about like practicing at work? Like, this sucks, or is it still like, or do you still have the joy of like it's a release?
It's a blessing.
Harp on that if you don't mind.
Well, anytime you play your instrument, your craft, I just, my mindset is always, I don't want to be bad at this. You know? And I know instruments, musical instruments especially, they are not something you can just pick up every 6 months and be at the same level.
Sure.
Anything of that nature requires muscle memory, and practice is the only way to maintain that or build that. And I feel that if you're making the time, practicing every day or almost every day, at least 3 to 5 times a week, you will grow in that skill. And I feel like if you don't practice at least 3 times a week or even once a month, that it'll be hard to show up prepared, if you know what I mean. If you are playing at any kind of a semi-professional level, showing up for gigs, if you're getting paid to do it, show up prepared.
Be a pro.
That's, yes. And like you've told me this quote, and I love this quote, is the amateur practices until they get it right, and the professional practices until they can't get it wrong.
Yes.
I love that. That's so good.
I wish I remember saying that. I think, I could be wrong. I think I got that from the book, The War on Art, maybe.
Yes. That is where you got it.
Got it. Stephen Pressfield, The War on Art. Have you read it?
No.
Man.
I should.
We're talking about Chris Daly, who was on the last podcast. I recommended one book to him. He read it way too fast. It hurt my feelings. And this is the follow-up book. I'm like, you got to read this book.
Okay.
It's so good. It's a quick read. It's like, if you listen to it on Audible, you can crush it in a day. It's a short book. But it's all about, like, the pro goes to work. And everything you just talked about, it's that. So I love that you remember that quote, because I forgot about that. But that's so true. Yeah. It's like the pro goes to work, you know, how the pro practices, all that stuff. It's not even a question for you. Yeah. That's just who you are. You're not bitter about it. You're not thinking, oh, it would be nice if I could practice at home. It would be nice if I had maybe a separate studio space. Like, no, I'm going to practice after I'm done fixing a car. You know, it's an ideal spot, and you're making it work. And inevitably, just doing those processes, you are nails every time. No excuses. You hire Chris Mozingo to do a gig, studio session, whatever it is. You're showing up prepared.
Well, it makes it so much more fun when you show up prepared.
Doesn't it?
How stressful is it if you show up and you're like, I'm not sure I can do this?
People do it all the time, baby.
It sounds so stressful. I can't. It's a nightmare of mine. I literally have the nightmare of showing up someplace that I got hired and having no idea what I'm doing. It's absolute nightmare.
It's bad. I just doing this whole video thing full time. I had my first like video, like legitimately nightmare. Like, I'm shooting a wedding and I'm late and I don't have an SD card and the bride's pissed. I'm like, oh my God. The batteries are dead. But even like prior to the dream, I'm like, it'll be fine. Like, I'll figure it out. And the wedding's happening and I didn't prepare, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was just a dream. Right. But yeah, being unprepared sucks. So it's like, it's not only you love doing it, but you have a responsibility to whoever's outsourcing you. You want to present your best.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Out of respect to those people, you know.
Right.
It's just
and you've kind of done it all as far as a drummer goes, where you're doing studio work or playing at your local church, or playing in cover bands or original music. Like you've kind of checked all the boxes.
Sure. So
you got to stay sharp.
Right.
And we talked about, like you said, a discipline of practicing every day. And you hinted earlier of waking up early. Mm-hmm. And this is something I'm excited to get into. I like to try to exercise daily. Uh-huh. I fail at that all the time.
Do you though?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. I try to like work out first thing in the morning, and it sometimes happens. Like today was at 4 or 5 o'clock before I started jogging, because I'll push it off, or I just don't want to.
Got it done.
I got it done. I've been better. as recently, but I can hit dry spells where I haven't done anything for like a week or two or a month, and then I'll hit spots where I'm really good at it. So like I ebb and flow with it. Where you, as of late, are waking up at 5 a.m. every day.
4 a.m. usually.
Okay, relax. Yeah. 4 a.m.
We start at 5 a.m.
Sweet Moses. Okay, so again, I feel like the theme of this podcast is like you have no room for excuses.
Sure.
Especially you're 38, 37?
37.
37. As we get older, wife, kids, dad bod sits in. I don't have time for hobbies, and you are just this beacon of an example of you can still be a 9-to-5 worker, top tier drummer, and still work out, which is crazy. So you're waking up at 4 a.m. to make it happen. That's absurd. Well, you know that's crazy.
Yeah, I agree that it's uncommon, but I don't know. I found a way to make it fun. Like when you have guys who, so I do F3 in the morning. That's the workout organization that I do every day, and it's
talk about F3. What's that?
F3 is it's a free workout group for men that meets at over 100 plus sites in our region. Probably 2,000 sites in the country.
So anyone who wants to do it in the U.S. or maybe anywhere.
Yeah, it's any man
could download. Is it an app?
It is not it's we use an app to communicate, but we as far as invitation, it's just a word of mouth. Amazing. And we just bring the guys there. When you went to one.
I went to one. It was hard.
Yeah. And then but yeah, we use a Slack app and we put what we call a pre-blast on there, and there's an HC list. The HC stands for hard commit.
Hard commit.
Hard commit. So when you hit the HC button, you are hard committing that you will be there the next day, which is what I need personally. I'm all about accountability. If I don't have accountability, I will not be able to do anything.
Sure.
I need accountability to learn songs for gigs, to show up for work the next day, to show up for the workout the next day. And I like to surround myself with people or do gigs with people or whatever the case is that I like. I mean, obviously, like we all like being around people.
This guy sucks.
Right. And so time is obviously precious. And so whenever you do things, I would say surround yourself with people that you enjoy doing them with.
That's huge.
Because if you do it with people that you don't enjoy, I feel like it sucks a bit of the joy out of it, obviously.
Becomes a chore.
Yes. So that HC list, for example, I can see who is hard committed to the workout the next day. Oh, I love those 5 guys. I'm totally going to be there. And I get excited to wake up the next day. And that makes waking up at 4 a.m. suck a lot less. Because otherwise it would be awful. And I would probably have quit a long time ago.
So you've built up like your, I feel like you're really good at, you're obviously likable. So you can attract people, but I feel like
coming from the most likable guy on the planet.
Thank you. I was totally fishing for a compliment. Like, you're so nice, dude. What about me? You're a very likable, personable person, but you're really good at like building up tribes.
Yeah, sure.
Whether it's your work, church, drums, music, or even working out, which I feel like I'm really bad at. You're like, I'm working out.
You are?
I feel like I'm like, at least for working out. Like I've only.
You are a solo guy.
I'm a solo guy. Like I like to have my music or an audiobook and just kind of get into it. And maybe it's a self-conscious thing. Like I don't want someone screaming at me or not keeping up. You know, where you're like you embrace it. And I like the
suck.
Embrace the suck. Yeah. I like the benefit you throw out there where it's like, oh, like Steve's joining today. Like I love that guy. Like if he's doing it, like, yeah, I gotta be there. You know, like if we lived closer and I saw like you were doing it in the morning, like, oh, Chris is gonna be there. I have to. You know.
Yeah, sure.
So that's cool. So you have like a pool of guys that are gonna join or not join. You see who's HC hard committing, and you can check it the night before and kind of get excited or less excited, whatever it is, and go for it. Do you do it every day regardless, or do you kind of feel it out? I
do it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So Wednesdays are...
What's happening on Wednesdays?
That's the wife's day.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
good man.
Yeah.
So Monday, Tuesday, you said Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yes.
Those are most of the days.
Most of the days.
And on Sundays, you're drumming.
Usually, yeah.
Usually. So you get one day. That's a ton. So that's 5 days a week.
Sounds like a ton.
No, that is a ton. That's 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Of 4 a.m. wake ups.
Yeah.
My ideal time to wake up, like ideally, like when I am on it, is 5:30. And I can't. Yeah. I don't sustain that. I usually start caving, and it's like 6 a.m. is a good time. I can't keep up 5:30. You're doing 4 a.m.
Yeah, you're working from home.
Yes.
Which I feel like if I worked from home,
sleepy time,
I would not be as motivated.
I think your actions would disagree with you. I think you would figure it out for sure. I think you would feel that way, and let's say you were unmotivated for like a week.
We'll go with that. Yeah, that's totally how it
maybe you completely fall apart. You're like 300 pounds. Like, oh my God, get a job.
We do a podcast in 3 years, and I'm like, I got a job working from home tomorrow, and it's just awful.
What do you want to drink, Chris? Like, milkshakes. No, but that's insane. Like 4 a.m. To make myself feel better. Do you go to bed earlier, or do you just?
Well, not always by choice.
What's your bedtime?
I try to stay awake to either just getting some downtime with my wife, or like after the kids are at bed, and it doesn't always work out in my favor as far as staying awake. But most of the time, I try to stay awake until about 9:30.
Okay, that makes okay. So you're not staying up till like 11.
I try to stay awake. No.
Like, okay, thank
if I
goodness.
do, that's bad for you.
Yeah. I try to get at least 7 to 8 hours.
6 or less.
That's
which
it.
I've lived that life for sure.
I get sick.
While.
I'll get a runny nose.
Yeah.
I get physically sick.
Yeah. I'm sure your body just shuts down.
I'm sure so does everybody, but I feel like I do especially bad on lack of sleep. Like my body physically will get sick. I'm not like, oh, I feel tired. Like I'll get like a runny nose immediately if I get less than 6 hours of sleep.
You get
so bad.
Inflammation in places you don't want it, and
we're 100 years old.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dinosaurs.
But that's really cool. I just had to shine a little light on that. Where if like I've thought about you many a time exercising, like if I'm tired or I'm starting to make excuses, like you wake up at 4 a.m. I thought it was 5. It's 4.
You take ice baths. I don't want to do that.
It sucks.
Right? But it's a mental discipline.
It's a mental discipline.
So how about that?
How about me?
How about you?
But 4 a.m. waking up every day, getting the workout in consistently, and then you're practicing your drums. And I feel like you have a solid routine.
It is a routine.
You're checking all the boxes.
If you don't have a routine, it's hopeless. Yeah. It's the only way.
It's the only way. Routine and accountability.
Yes. And surrounding yourself with people who you look up to, respect.
Yeah. That's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
I can name drop here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Kelly.
Yes. I would love to have him on. He's a beast. Yeah. The man is a legend among the F3 crowd. And really? Does he have respect in that little?
Oh yeah.
Not little, but
he's
the
kind
community.
of guy that like when you see that he's leading the workout,
show up.
Big numbers show up because
what?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
He draws a crowd because of how savagely difficult his workouts are.
I've had the privilege of having Matt play briefly in some of our bands, and does much like you. He's showing up. He's borderline. He is doing us a favor. Hey, we need bass for this. Let's say this one show coming up. He would show up better rehearsed than our band. He would have notes. He would write it out. He would know parts. He would have questions on things he wasn't 100% sure about that I wouldn't know the answer to, and he would nail it. Yeah. And he would show up fit, looking cool, knowing his shit.
Yes.
And that's for a random show, like you said, like a pro. And I have to think, like, the way he works out, the way he disciplines his life of things that I'm sure I don't even know about, it carries over.
Yeah.
And that's something I realize when I am kind of in the spot I am right now, let's say the last 4 to 5 weeks. Not a lot, but I'm running again. I'm kind of getting back into a groove. It bleeds over into other aspects of your life. I want to dress a little better. I want to maybe meal plan a little better.
Sure.
I'll maybe try to drink a little less. I'll try to, edit that project faster. It starts to have a snowball effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes no sense that he's a badass in that, and then you're harping on it too. Like it helps everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does.
So that's cool. I'm glad that he gets the respect
Yeah.
from the other dudes. That makes sense. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. With the F3 thing, I don't know. I can't remember if this was an F3 event or not, but you just completed. I think it was just last year, or maybe like 6 months ago.
Oh yeah, the Freedom Ops / Grow Ruck event. It was labeled as Grow Ruck, and then it got taken over by a company called Freedom Ops.
Freedom Ops.
Yes.
And was it a 24-hour thing?
It was about 6 p.m. the Saturday night before and it went overnight and into about 10 a.m. the next day.
6 p.m. till about 10 a.m.
Yes.
So a good 16 hours?
If math...
Did I math that right?
Sounds right.
I remember we were being filmed and I panicked, but I believe that's I believe it's 16 hours.
I just got there. Yes, it's 16 hours.
16 hours of straight working out overnight. It's with was it an F3? Did you say it was?
Yeah,
F3?
it was pretty
like most of those people.
Just about all of them, yeah.
And the way you kind of softballed it to me when you were telling me about it was kind of like a Navy SEALs hell, like a taste of Hell Week.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, like a night of Hell Week.
I know we discussed it before, but if you don't mind, that the hardest thing I've ever done in my life to name drop on myself is a marathon.
That's
hey,
very hard to do.
I thought that was cool.
It is cool.
It is cool.
Don't discount a marathon.
And then you talked
really
and then you talked about this event that you did, and it just blew me.
It's a different hard.
I think it's crazy hard. Like a marathon took like let's say 4 or 5 hours. This was we ran the numbers. 16 hours.
We ran the numbers.
If you don't mind kind of talking about that and your experience with that, and
yeah,
maybe I'll do one day, but it sounds terrifying.
That was one of those things that you don't really know what you're capable of until someone, which I'm sure any military guy listening to this will understand, that when you are broken mentally beyond what you think you're capable of being broken to, you always find more. When you see someone next to you who is in your platoon, for example, and you see them suffering, doing something, we're trading out a task that we're having to go through together, and you're taking turns doing that, say carrying a 700, 800 pound telephone pole, for example.
Easy.
And then we rotate out one at a time, and you see the guy next to you, and you are completely smoked, and you always seem to find a little bit more when you see someone in need. And I feel like that is it's in this mentally unlocking event that it's one of those things where if someone told me that, say a year before I did the event, that you're going to do this, and they explain the whole thing to me, I would have told them that they're insane, and there's absolutely no way.
That was my reaction.
That I would ever be able to do that, yet alone want to do that. It's like someone yelling at you for an entire night, basically breaking you down to not necessarily.
That's what I would hate.
A negative
I'd be
reinforcement.
like, dude, chill.
Yeah. We're not soldiers.
You're not my
bro.
dad.
You're not my dad.
We're in St. Charles. I can see a McDonald's. Relax.
Right.
And by that I mean it would terrify me. I would probably break.
Yeah. I just about did multiple times, but it was so I guess I'll just slowly explain it. Or quickly explain it one way or another.
Take your time.
We start out by not knowing who we're going to be with in our platoon. Depending on how many guys show up, it's always about 30 guys per platoon. So we all show up, we see how many guys there are, we split into the groups accordingly, and we make them all as even as possible. and then we have to take formation. I've never taken formation in my life. I don't know what that means, but it is designed to make you fail, and it is in terms of failure to grow, failure to
maybe build camaraderie through failure.
Yeah, definitely plenty of camaraderie, but yeah, they basically give you tasks that don't, with no instruction, so you're kind of in a constant state of chaos. And once you finally get in formation, however long that takes, however many punishments that takes, you have a pack on the back of you that weighs about 50 pounds. That's full of a 130-pound iron plate, which is completely pointless weight, but it's just made. It's just in there to make it harder. And then you have your bladder of water, which is a 2-liter bladder of water, and then another 2 liters or 1 liter of electrolyte water. And then you have refill stations along the night, but you always have that on you, and you're not allowed to take it off unless your cadre says that you can. Your cadre is your leader for the night, and he just basically torments you.
Tortures you.
Yeah. There are some positive reinforcement moments, but most of it is negative.
Like they're trying to break you.
Yes.
That's awful.
It's awful, but it's awesome. Because afterwards...
Are they nice afterwards?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we're so sorry.
Yeah, good handshake, a bro hug.
That's cool.
There is fewer feelings better than whenever the end of it and you get your patch.
Oh, cool.
In a handshake. Like they have the patch in their hand. They shake your hand, give you the bro hug, and you have this sense of like, I did it. Like,
it's over.
I can't believe I did it. Like it's over. I kind of want to do it again.
Do you think you will do it again?
Almost definitely.
Oh, man.
Lots of sandbag carries. That, like I mentioned earlier, the 800-pound plus log.
Right.
That you have to take 3 to 5 miles with your platoon.
Yeah, I feel like interrupted. Please continue with the day and how it breaks down.
Yeah, and there's a fitness test. So you have to run, and this is after you've done a couple of mentally strenuous activities, but the fitness test is you have to run 2 miles in under 18 minutes, which doesn't sound bad. But when when it's 1 a.m. or whatever, and you're trying to
keep it under a 9-minute pace, that's moving.
Yeah,
it's a solid cancer.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then you have to do 50 hand release push-ups in under 2 minutes.
What's a hand release push-up?
So when you go down for the push-up, you have to put your hands out to the side, like where your chest is holding you off the ground. Hands out to the side, back into the center, with like shoulder width.
So you go down and then just like let go.
Yeah, let go.
Gotcha. And
that's a hand release. And 50 of those in under 2 minutes.
Ugh.
And then 50 sit-ups in under 2 minutes. Pretty sure I'm getting those numbers right. I know it's under 2 minutes, but the 50 I'm pretty positive.
Enough to gas you for sure.
Yes. And if you failed, then there was a talking.
What time of the night is this taking place?
Anywhere from we're not allowed to have watches on us.
Okay.
So we don't know that, which is another part of the mental game. And so
that would mess me up.
No phones, no watches, no electronics whatsoever.
Mm.
So you have no idea what time it is. So that
would suck.
It did suck. But after that fitness test, you go back out. You get it. Usually it's carrying heavy things. Most of it's carrying heavy things.
Sure.
And then it's getting wet. You do a bunch of flutter kicks on your back while the local firehouse is hosing you off with their frigid water.
Nice.
Yeah, with a
little cold plunge.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
Yeah.
I've basically done it.
I mean, pretty much.
It's not that hard, Chris.
Yeah, not really. I don't know what you're complaining about. In this last one, which is the only one I've done, by the way, we went into one of the local caves down in Festus, Missouri. But it was I don't remember the exact location of the cave, but either way, we walked through a cave, and we were about just above waist deep in water, and the water was very cold. Could not feel my legs, could not feel my feet. Which
any guess how cold it was?
Like
they say.
They didn't say. I bet it was 50-degree water, maybe.
Jeez.
Maybe. I think it was cold enough to go numb, and then pretty quickly, but it oddly enough it felt kind of good because my feet really hurt. So
maybe woke you up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
It was all right.
How long were you in that water?
We were in there for, I don't know.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
A while.
More than 5 minutes?
For sure. But
oh my gosh.
But yeah, I didn't have any concept of time.
You were delirious.
It was so weird. Weird feeling. Not a feeling I'm used to. Not a feeling any of us are used to. We always have some kind of a time-telling device.
Yes. I asked you first. I was like, this was a 24-hour event, which even that doesn't seem that bad a day. And then you said, no, it's like 16 hours. I'm like, oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
16 hours, like I can, that's not even a full day. That's not that hard. And then you say it's 10 p.m. till, you said 6
p.m. to
6 p.m.
to 10 a.m.
6 p.m. till 10 a.m.
9 a.m., 10 a.m.
I just went
10 a.m. is when I got to my car.
I went for a run before this, and it was about an hour and a half. That sucked. That's an hour and a half. Let alone 16 hours, let alone going through the full night, let alone not having your watch. It's only 16 hours, but I could so see how you would lose concept of, like, is it 1 a.m. or is it 5 a.m.? Like, this,
did this activity take 15
sucks.
minutes or did it take 2 hours?
I would lose my mind.
So, coolest part of the whole night, after the cave debacle.
Right. You didn't know what time it is.
We didn't know what time it was.
You're cold.
But when we exited the cave, the sun was up. You want to talk about my spirits being lifted past any point that I thought they were capable of being lifted.
Hey, Chris.
It was amazing.
Was that the best sunrise you've ever seen?
It was the best sunrise I've ever seen in my life, by far.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, and they call it the sunriser. So we get out of the cave, we go and sit around a flag, and we all sit. We take a break, and then some guys do some speeches, do some talk about the event, what the event meant to them. And then in your mind, you're like, this thing's almost over. I'm thinking we're about done.
Mm-hmm.
We have maybe one more thing. And they're like, all right, guys, we're going to do...
No, I'm sorry. During this speech, have you already seen the sun? This is after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To take it back a little bit, when you first saw the sun, were you at that moment thinking, like, the sun better be up? Or did you think it was middle of the night?
No, I 100% thought we were still...
So that sun was
maybe halfway through.
Was just like a pure treat.
Couldn't believe it.
Like, I can't believe it's already here. That's awesome.
And not to mention, how long have we been in this cave?
Sure.
When did we go in?
Okay, gotcha. So that sun's up, and you're sitting around. Go ahead.
Yeah. We start walking after that sunriser. Like, all right, guys, we're going to ruck back to the site where we started. And they don't really give us a whole lot of detail. I knew from guys who had done it before, because I talked to, just like, like we were talking about earlier, I like to be prepared for things. So when I signed up for this event, I talked to as many people as I could about the event and what to expect.
Get the inside scoop.
You get the inside scoop. Each one of them is a little different. This one was a little different. And I heard from multiple people that this one was pretty hard. But they're all very hard. I will not discount any of the other events.
I did the hard one.
Yeah, right. Just so everybody knows.
I've only did one, but it was the hard one.
Hardest one. So I deserve all of the respect. But no, we start walking, and they're like, yeah, it's probably 2 miles away, and I don't know where we are. It's like, okay. We start walking, and I'm telling you, I mean, I don't have a watch on me, but I can tell that it's been way longer than 2 hours of walking. And I'm pretty sure it was like 5 to 6 miles that we walked. I might be over-exaggerating, but I'm pretty sure it was almost or over 4 miles. Because one of my guys, my platoon brothers, looked it up later, like, and because he knew the area pretty well. But anyway, one of those things where he looked it up. It's like, yeah, we walked way further than 2 miles. Anyway, and then they do this thing called the casualty carry. So our cadre starts shouting at us, saying, and again, this is very military feeling. Starts shouting at us, saying, "We're taking fire. We're supposed to. It's been simulated gunfire, is what it's supposed to be." And so we all drop to the floor. Like, I mean,
I would be so over it.
Completely on the floor.
Like, make me Swiss cheese. I'm done.
No butts in the air. It just like they would say, get your dicks in the dirt is their phrase.
That's what my mom used to say.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then he would say, all right, this guy, and this guy got shot.
Oh, geez.
You have to carry them. And so one way or another, we would have to figure out 3 guys carrying one guy carrying one guy, 2 guys carrying one, whatever the case. We stopped at gunfire simulations 3 or 4 times. Whoa. And I'm telling you, half our platoon was down. And so,
to completely cut you off, when you're this tired and this overworked and you're essentially playing pretend, in the moment, is it silly or is it like very serious, and you're very into it? I was making fun, and it's easy to like make fun when we're just having a couple cocktails and we're warm. For sure, you're under gunfire. But I bet in the moment, like they do a good job of like you're very in the zone.
Yes.
And then so you said half your platoon is down.
Yes. And that's when I feel like your brotherhoods are forged.
Okay, interesting.
And when you pick one of your boys up that you've been talking to all night, going through the same thing he has been going through, and you have this, because you're already mentally just
you're exhausted,
smoked, but when you have that thought, I mean, use your imagination as much as you want, like where it's like my brother is down here, you do whatever you can to pick him up and get him to the safe point.
Do you think he was happy he got shot, that he could relax?
Well, oddly enough, it's really not that relaxing to get shot, because getting carried,
because they shoot you.
Yeah.
Little beanbags.
It's awful.
It hurts really bad.
Shoot you.
Sorry. It actually hurts quite bad.
It really isn't great.
So you said it's not. So
it's not super comfortable getting carried, and like a fireman carry is not.
It kind of probably sucks.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Ask your other your firefighter friend.
I should have. Next time I have him on, we'll get into the weeds.
Yeah.
So see, that's, you said where the camaraderie kicks in.
Yeah.
You're carrying some of your friends, and maybe, I'm sure it does obviously not even come close to someone actually in the service and all that stuff.
Right.
But maybe you get a small taste of like that feeling of.
Well, I'll tell you what it does is it gives you mad respect for our country's.
That's better said.
Military.
Yeah.
Yes. And what they have gone through and go through for us. And it's
the stuff we take for hard granted.
Yeah. The fact that I was never in the military, it's humbling.
Are your leaders, are they ex-military?
Some of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you have the people that were shot.
Yeah.
And now you're carrying them.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like the final stretch.
The
sun is up.
Yeah.
We said like 3 times, but this is over at 10 a.m.
Yeah. I got
That's late morning.
I got back into my car at 10 a.m. So we'll say it ended before then, but
But still, sunrise was probably around 6.
Yeah, probably.
So you still have a good chunk to go.
Yeah, and I
Which
didn't.
Sucks.
Yeah. And yeah. Again, I don't know what time it is. I all I know is like when I got back in the car and saw the clock and was like,
10 a.m.
There it is. But yes, it was that last stretch. Anyway,
so you're making the last stretch.
Yeah, and then when we get back to the ending point when it very much should be over, as in there are wives and children over there. Mm-hmm. They were told a certain time and a location. If you want to be there when your husband crosses the line, this is where you need to be. And so when we saw them, the family, obviously, home stretch, your mind is like, they wouldn't make these family members stand here for like another hour, would they? Surely not.
We're done.
That would be crazy. We're done here. So we get there. We get the casualties to the safe point. We do one more small simulation of protecting the circle, the safe point, until the extraction can get there. And then we start circling up after that. It's like, we're done. Cool. And then the leaders tell us that we're going to do one more hero wad, which is workout of the day. And we're going to do the Mogadishu Mile Hero Wad. Unless, and by the way, the Mogadishu Hero Wad is not easy. It's a 45-minute plus workout, depending. And I mean, it's not for time, like as in you do things within a certain time and you get as much as you can, in E-mile, like as many reps as possible, whatever the case. It is, you work until it's done and then see what your time is. The average time, 45 minutes to an hour. I've done that workout before that day, and I heard him say that, and all of us, our souls were just crushed.
No.
Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, that's a hard workout when you're fresh, like when you're
sure.
And
you're toasted.
But then he said, unless someone in this group can recite word for word the Man in the Arena. And you ever heard the Man in the Arena?
Gladiator? No, sorry, I have no idea.
I don't think so.
Possibly. As Russell Crowe said, are you not entertained?
I know
That's it! Yes. The Man in the Arena. Let me backtrack. I don't know what that is.
So I can't recite it.
Okay. Awesome.
I would have to look it up for sure. But it is, I can't even tell you who it was written by. I feel a little sheepish saying that. So
we're not recording. It's fine.
Right. But the Google phone knows. Anyway, so one of our guys and I had every doubt that no one would be able to do this.
But we're toast.
I couldn't believe it. But Camelot was his name. I'll never forget his name because he went up there and slowly recited the entire thing. And I'm talking like it's a lengthy.
It's not 2 or 3 sentences.
No, it is a full-on page of words.
Ooh.
And that man did it, and I will never cheer louder than I cheered as well. We erupted when he completed the last sentence. I was like, I can't believe he did that. I can't believe it. Would they have made us do it? Probably. I mean, I don't know.
If they said it, I bet they would.
Right. But we didn't have to because he recited the whole thing. What a beast. I just like
did you just give him the biggest embrace?
Yes, I tried to. Everyone else was doing the same.
I tried to, but the other cool dudes were hugging him.
All other 118 guys that were there did it as well. But
there was 118 guys in your group?
In the entirety. 30
Wow.
So there was like 29 in our platoon, and then
Dang, saved your asses.
Bro, Camelot, my boy.
So then after Camelot, only a model saved it.
Ugh.
Then you were done.
Then we were done.
Oh my gosh. How did that feel?
Like in disbelief because of how many like mind F's there were, if you will.
Did you really feel like you accomplished something that probably during multiple times during that day you maybe considered giving up or didn't think you can make it through, and then before you knew it, you persevered and you're on the other side and you did it?
Giving up was definitely not an option.
Okay.
In my mind.
All right.
It is an option.
Sure.
But not, I just.
Wasn't happening.
It wasn't a thing that I even mildly thought about.
That helps.
Yeah, right? I'm sure.
This is happening, body.
Yeah. Deal with it.
You just had to be so tired. Like I said earlier, I do really bad on lack of sleep. So if I'm up that late and you're being that physical, like I feel like my brain would break. And to talk about myself,
it wouldn't.
maybe not. To talk about myself, like that's the one thing I wasn't expecting when I did my first marathon.
Yeah.
I knew you'd be physically tired. I didn't think about how mentally like tired I would get. Like towards the end, like the last couple miles, like I felt like I could take a nap. Like I was sleepy.
Weird, right?
I felt very sleepy at the end of that run because you don't sleep well. You're excited, you're anxious, and then you're running for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
and then it's like noon.
Yeah,
you're like, I need a nap.
Were you taking carbs and
for that was my first time
and
like they would have like Gatorade or like gel packs like throughout the run, so that really helps.
I was gonna say without the nap is necessary if you're not
totally So I remember how just like sleepy I felt at the end of a marathon, And I picture what you're doing is like 4 marathons. It's like 16 hours long. Like I can't imagine the mental exhaustion and just wanting to go to sleep that you feel. But you had the camaraderie.
Yeah, that's key.
That's key. And like I said,
obviously I wouldn't do anything like this by myself.
Sure. Like, yeah, if you're just being tortured by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm a very like solo workout guy. And I remember about 7, maybe 8 miles into my marathon, I got my headphones in, I'm in the zone. And this guy taps me on the shoulder. I'm like, what? And he's like, hey, do you mind if I run with you? I'm like, fuck. Super nice guy.
I actually do mind.
I did, but I was like, of course, like, why not?
Right.
It's only my first marathon ever. Like, this is totally what I wanted. And at first, being slightly annoyed because it wasn't a part of the plan, totally helped. Like, it was amazing. Like, we still, like, stay in touch, like, briefly over, like, the socials or whatever.
You're entirely too nice of a guy to say no. I bet you were like, of course.
I was hoping you ask.
Yeah.
But it made the whole race better. You know, and like, he would get tired at points. I would pump him up, and there were points where I'd get tired, and he would tap me on the shoulder. I'm like, oh, let's get it. And we would help each other finish the race. Yeah. And I would think back to you, just like,
it's going to be like when we run at half.
Hey, but just that camaraderie you get for someone doing something hard, and then afterwards, like the embrace that we had, and it's like we finished. It was both our first marathons.
That's fun.
A complete stranger. We both weren't sure if we could do it, and we finished together. And just going back to my arrogance of like, I don't want to talk to you. I got my own plan. I got a playlist. Like, I got this. To like, hey man, like let's stay in touch. This was great. Again, I mentioned that to say like you did that times 29 people, and the brotherhoods and the relationships and the respect that you probably got, tenfold from all of that. Like, it had to be an amazing experience.
It was. I would recommend it to anybody. 100%.
You're one of my best friends, and hearing that you would do it and maybe do it again terrifies me because I'm scared I'm gonna try it.
Oh, please.
It would be. If I can be vulnerable, the thing I'm worried about is the whole like instructor thing. And you said there was like you would have like backpacks, and they would make you do things fast, and they would yell at you. Yeah, that whole part would freak me out.
Oh, for sure. I had the shakes for sure.
Yes, like my biggest insecurity is like feeling stupid.
Yeah,
been that way since I was 11. Like, hate that feeling. So if
it's the worst.
If they're telling you to do something quickly or tie a knot or do this, and if people are counting on me, that is my worst nightmare.
Crumble.
I would hate that. How bad is that part of it?
It's awful.
Oh, see, like just that. Like, I don't want to do it. Let me suffer in silence. Or if I screw up, nobody knows. I'll just post the good workouts. But that Instagram. Look what I did today. I won't post the ones where I walked.
Right. Yes. Don't post those. I only run full tilt.
I only sprint always once a week when I feel like it.
Yes. 6-minute mile pace.
Never. Yeah. So that's cool, man.
Yeah.
How often? What's the time of year they did it? Was it like October, September?
It was
October 4th.
Yes, it was.
It was Sarah's birthday. Yeah.
Impressive.
I mean, I just remembered.
Yeah. 10/4/24.
I was on vacation with Sarah on her birthday, and you were suffering like a man, which is great. So you did that. And I bragged about myself, trying to make myself feel kind of good. Like, I did a marathon.
Yeah. You did.
You said you would never run one, and the last time
I still have never ran a marathon, a full marathon.
Right. And last we spoke, you said you were considering it.
I was considering it.
How's that going?
It's going great, considering the fact that I feel like I can run a half marathon
easily.
Well, with relative ease. Mm-hmm. But doubling that, I've just never. It's uncharted territories as far as running 26.2 miles.
Right.
I've never done that ever.
Yeah.
So things that I think I can do it.
Absolutely.
But I also think that it just kind of, it's a mental block for me.
I get that. I definitely had it on a pedestal.
Yeah, sure.
Of like this impossible thing.
Yeah.
Knowing what you've already talked about, you for sure can do it. It's probably different for everybody, but I feel like for me personally, the last 3 miles or as hard as the first 23.
Which I hear that.
I heard that the wall happened at mile 16 to 19. Like, that's the wall.
Yeah, for like casual trainers.
Like mile 16 to 19, you're gonna hit this wall. So I'm mile 22 in. I feel great. I'm like, I did it. Like,
let's be honest, 22 miles and you feel great.
It's in the bag, baby.
That's incredible.
I'm listening to the Rocky Fork soundtrack. The Russians,
as anyone should.
The Russians cut. I'm like, I got this in the bag. Mile 23 hits, and I am done. Like, couldn't more mentally be like gassed out, you know. And
which makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Because, I mean...
and then you still have...
The modern-day human body is not designed to run that long.
Powered by Cheetos.
Yeah.
And I still had a 5K to run, and I just had to slowly just...
Dude.
Because there's no, like you said, you're giving up.
Think about it, 5K, like, that's like a warm-up.
Sure.
Easy.
So those last 3 miles
bro.
sucked. But regardless, like knowing what you've done, and you're obviously mentally very sharp, and you're in great shape, you can for sure do it. There's that mental like, can I do 26 miles? Like I've never done it before, but like for sure,
we'll see.
You can. You can. Let's do it next year.
Okay.
Let's do it next year.
Okay.
Whichever one we do, go St. Louis, or if you can find another one. But
the go is pretty good, right?
The go, dude.
I did the go half, and it was awesome.
I was surprised how fun it was.
Right?
Because you do all this training around your neighborhood or the city, or just like, you know, running past Taco Bells with cars. And
and it's not some crazy elevation game.
It's just boring and time-consuming, and you're listening to the same playlist or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like when you do the Go St. Louis, it's like you're running for a parade.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
There's nonstop
you're
people.
Exactly right.
There's signs.
Encouragements.
There's encouragement. There's like funny things happening. There's people running in like Chewbacca costumes. You know, there's the Michael Scott like race for the cure T-shirts everywhere. Like it's great.
The Andy like bloody
nipple
shirt.
I was underestimating just like how like positive and like fun it is. You know.
Yeah.
People holding up signs like this parade sucks. You know, or people doing half marathons like we're half proud of you. Like it was just funny, you know. So I wasn't expecting like all of that. So man, if we did one together, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Just don't invite Matt
Kelly.
Kelly.
Doing a half together. Well, I'm inviting Matt Kelly.
He hurts my feelings.
Matt Kelly is my spirit animal. I need him there.
Right. He's so good. Yeah, we're doing the half.
Yeah, we are
next month,
March 23rd.
March 23rd. Patty up.
Mark your calendars.
Yes. We must drink multiple Guinnesses afterwards.
Of course.
It's still St. Patrick's Day season.
Yeah.
A little post, but it's called Patty up.
Yeah. It's the time to patty.
Time to patty. I feel like we're gonna race. We're friendly.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to.
We're also very competitive.
I'm gonna try to beat you.
That's fine.
And I'm nervous because you're doing really well.
So are you.
I don't know about that. You ran 10 miles like a couple weeks ago at like an 8:37 pace. So then I had to do my 9-mile workout. I had to try to beat it. You know, but like the fact that you threw that up casually frightened me. Like it scared me. Like that's impressive.
No, it didn't.
100% it did. I haven't I've been very undisciplined with my running, and like you're for sure like doing it more. And I feel like you think I'm like this runner, and I'm trying to like.
You are this runner.
I'm trying to get back to it. You know, like I said, abs and flows where you're more steady.
Yeah, but I don't know, whatever. Your last Strava was quite impressive.
That's why I posted it.
Yeah.
That was the only one I had.
The only one.
But I did that because of you.
Yeah.
Because you set the bar, and then I really pushed it. Like I was pushing.
We're probably gonna run like a 7:30 pace at this race, and we will absolutely die at the end of it. But it's gonna be great.
Fastest half is like 1:57. 1:57 or 1:58. Like I was trying to.
You will crush that.
I was trying to do under 2 hours.
1,000,000%.
This
you will crush
one,
that.
I'm trying to beat 150.
Let's beat one. Let's do 1:45.
You're insane.
Let's
no,
do it. We can do it.
It doesn't sound like you're shaving off a lot of time. Going like sub 150 is significantly harder.
I know, but we can do it.
Okay, we'll try.
That's all we can do.
If I can do it with an average pace of under 8:30, I'd be pretty pumped.
We can do that.
In the spirit of exercise, I'm curious on this topic of how like physical activity improves for sure mental health, clears up your head, clears up some brain fog. Do you find the more you exercise and work out that it helps you potentially become a better musician or a better drummer? Maybe you have more stamina. Maybe you write a better part. Do you find any like correlation between the two?
I don't get gassed as easily.
There you go.
For sure. Like if you're playing any kind of, because drums are a very physical instrument, but I have noticed,
Sure.
I have discovered that drums also, if you do zero exercise but only play drums, you can still be a wildly good drummer in terms of stamina and strength and dynamics, and you can be in really good drummer shape but really really bad workout shape, which is definitely where I was before I found the routine.
Yeah, you look so bad. You did not. I was joking.
When you yeah,
don't take that seriously. When you don't make me feel bad.
When you do like a 30-minute workout and you almost vomit and pass out, like
right,
you're not in a great spot when it comes to cardio. So
you're drummer fit.
But yeah, drummer fit. It's a thing. So I would say that in terms of working out in relation to drumming, yes and no. I think that you can benefit from exercise and drumming. I would say probably the mental more than the physical, because I think that sometimes I overwork certain parts of my body in working out, and then it lessens my physical ability to play drums at times, only for a short period of time until obviously you recover. Right. But if I do some burner of a workout the morning of a gig and then I play that night,
you're gassed.
Yeah, I mean I can still do it, but it's not as easy as it would be probably.
Sure.
But mentally, like you said, that I feel like physical exercise definitely enhances your cognitive ability to live correctly. It's like in just your spatial awareness, your ability to complete a thought, your ability to finish a task,
your ability to just kind of, for lack of a better phrase, embrace the suck or eat shit.
Yeah.
if you're in a long studio session.
Yeah. You ever seen that? Ahead. Yeah. You ever seen that picture? It's a like a meme of don't be the guy carrying the shoes.
No.
It's like a flood.
Pull it up, Tammy.
Yeah, right. So yeah, edit this and post it up in the middle of this.
Sure.
But it's
future me. Thanks for the homework.
Right. Yeah.
That's me, dude. Stop doing that.
Stop doing that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It looks like it's a town that's been going through a flood devastation, and there's this dainty-looking man carrying a pair of shoes because he doesn't want to get his shoes wet, and then another badass-looking man carrying a civilian through the floods and like looking like a super jack dude.
Sure.
And it says just don't be the guy carrying the shoes.
Love that. Yes. It's like don't be the one bitching.
Yeah.
So I think if you're more fit, if you're exercising, like your level, your or at least your bar raises of like what's annoying.
Sure.
And as silly as it sounds, like if I'm editing a video or working on a song or anything creative, you reach annoying spots where you want to give up or stop or take a break or you start to use excuses.
Yeah.
But if you do the workout you did, or if you can run 10 miles, you can kind of, whenever you're doing anything physical like that, you always hit moments of like, I wish I wasn't doing this right now. Of course.
Sure.
You know? So when you're doing something like playing the drums and you're sitting down and you're just having a good time and maybe it's not ideal circumstances and you want to stop, you can kind of reference that and be like, this is nothing. Like, this is the best. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I'm working on a drum fill. Like, why am I getting so upset? Like, this is the easy part of my day.
Yeah.
And that's something I remind myself when I'm running or I'm reaching that last, like, it's always like the second to last mile that's the hardest. I tell myself, like, this is the hard part of the day. This is it. These next 8 minutes, like, this is the part of your day that's
the hardest thing that's going to be.
This is the hardest part of your day that's going to suck. After this, maybe a cocktail, maybe you're barbecuing. Yeah. Maybe you're trying to figure out that hook or that drum fill, whatever. Sure. You know, that's the stuff where you get to relax. Yeah. Chill. It's not that hard.
And any of that hard stuff, anything like input, blank space, whatever hard thing you're doing, always, I feel like the best thing that helps any kind of thing like that is find your why. And the reason that I work out in the mornings is I want to be able to play with my grandkids. I want to be able to meet my great grandkids.
Whoa.
So when it comes to why, I feel like that is a big driving factor, is to take care of yourself. Like, not necessarily in the present to have better cognitive abilities right now, which of course that is a side benefit, but in the long run, like, how many kids don't get to meet their great grandparents or don't get to play with their grandparents?
That's really cool.
Because they took horrible care of themselves.
I've never thought of that. I have thought during my workouts or doing exercise, I want to be healthy. I want to be a healthier dad. Sure. I want to be able to, like, already my lower back can hurt. You know, I want to be able to pick up my kids easily. I want to be that strong dad, you know, airplane, pick them up, whatever. I'm 33. It's going great. You know, I got it. It's fine. I've never heard the perspective, my grandkids, my great grandkids, I want to help out. I want to be physical for them. We mentioned Chris Daly on my last podcast. I had lunch with him yesterday. His dad is 70. He just ran a half marathon recently.
Awesome.
At an 8:35 pace.
Nice.
At 70.
Respect.
I thought I was getting after it. He is averaging a better pace than me, and he's 70. Yeah. What? Right? That just reminded me, like, when you're saying, like, healthy for my great grandkids, I want to be on top of it. Like, that's the level of, like, oh yeah, like, there's levels to this. There is future benefits of actually taking care of yourself. Yeah. Like, that's an amazing perspective. Like, I'm not doing this. Sometimes I'll sell my wedding couples, and I tell them, like, this is my selling point. Like, don't get a wedding film for you. Do it for your kids and for their kids, because it'll be digital and it'll live on forever. And I mean it, because, like, my wife and I, like, ironically did not get a wedding film, and we regret it. You know, so we'll be the only ones at a nursing home without a wedding film. So it's like, we'll make this film.
All the rest of them will be by Henthor Media.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah. I shot this son of a bitch. Should have deleted it. You know, but it's true. It's just like, you're making the film for you. You're in the moment. Of course you're doing it because, like, you're in love and it's the thing to do. But then you're going to have this product forever. Yeah. And your kids are going to have it.
It's immortalized.
Imagine, like, to watch, like, how the wedding films are today of your great-grandparents. It'd be incredible, you know? So the fact that you're relating that kind of same ideal to working out. So maybe Chris in the future is 85. And I feel like us at 85 will be a little different than our, like, great-grandparents at 85.
If I'm half of what Harrison Ford is at 85, then...
Bro! Yeah, right? I oddly enough, thinking about this today, like, I remember it's 2025. The Force Awakens came out in 2015, a decade ago. I remember Harrison Ford during The Force Awakens thinking he was old. Yeah. Little did I know that a decade later he would be playing a version of the Incredible Hulk.
I know. What is this?
like if there was a time traveler, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Harrison Ford is playing Han Solo in 2015, the future. Yeah. And then time traveler Russ comes by. In 10 years he'll be playing the Hulk.
Little do you
He's
know.
Gonna be green and mean, like, he's red. Like, what? And like, gotta go. Like, that's absurd.
My universe is just shattered.
You have Red Hulk? Like, he was already old, and 10 years later, he's playing the Hulk. Yeah. That's so absurd. Yes. And he still looks great.
Yeah. Doing advertisements for Scotch commercials now. And it's like, he's like, I'm not really thinking about
do you like
30
freedom?
years into my career. Yeah. I'm doing whatever I want to do.
It's so good.
Yeah.
These freaking Scotch commercials.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I forget. I just remember I saw Harrison Ford at the Super Bowl. I'm like, look at this stud. Just everyone shut up. Harrison's talking.
Yeah, right.
I call him Harrison because we're buds.
You're boys.
we're boys. We text sometimes.
Right.
What's up, Hair? Oh my gosh. What I'm trying to get out of this podcast is like, again, like, thanks for coming on.
Of course.
Dude, like your no excuse approach, getting your drums in, getting your workouts in. You're a father of 3 kids. You're still working a very solid job. You're making it all work. Unapologetically. As far as your drummer stuff goes, you've recorded in a ton of studios. You play for your church. You've written original music. You've kind of checked every box, as I said earlier, that a drummer could. Let's say 17-year-old you is watching right now, or just an up-and-coming drummer. I want to be a drummer. I want to do what Chris is doing. What advice would you give to that person?
I would say, depending on, well, 17-year-old me would want to do things differently than I have it probably.
Sure.
So when I was 17, I pretty much wanted to be a professional drummer, period. And that's all I wanted to do.
100%.
So I feel like I wouldn't be a disappointment to 17-year-old me, but if you know what I mean.
You start crying.
Yeah.
What would you give to your younger self? Don't give your life away.
Stay.
Pour me another shot. I should have tried harder.
Right.
Got it.
You were good, but not good enough.
That's our show. Anywho. I know what you're saying, though. Yes. I have points on that as well.
Okay. But I guess the advice I would give is don't compromise the joy that you get out of it for a goal, if you know what I mean. Because if you reach a goal, but you've compromised everything for it, and by that I mean leaving who would have been a very rich, giving family member or a wife, or if you sacrificed an opportunity for a job that would have been an enormous blessing in your life just for something that might not, and I'm not saying don't take risks, of course, but I feel like I've thought a lot about decisions I've made in my life, and that I could have made very different ones that might have looked better at the time. And let's just say I got lucky, because I could have gotten way off track. So it's, again, I like I said earlier, surround yourself with people that you respect, that you want to listen to, that you want to be like, that you trust what they say, and listen to them. Because if they say something like they said to me, like, I don't think that you should do this, maybe listen to them. So, there are always times, of course, where you would think it's worth the risk, and sometimes it is. But I have that, as anybody does, that guttural feeling that you either know it's right or you know it's not. So, very long-winded answer is to listen to someone that you trust. Because I feel like if you take a risk that doesn't pan out, your life's not over, but it's finding a balance of what gives you joy, and I find joy in all the things that I do. Yeah, I would be sad if I didn't work on cars anymore. I would be sad if I didn't have a family. I'd be sad if I didn't play drums. So obviously you find that balance of having friends and having friends in the things you do as well. Mutual agreements, mutual missions with people that you love, and we'll see how that translates after I listen to this again.
You completely nailed that. That was great. I think I don't mean to put you on the spot, like spill wisdom, but no, that I feel like the theme that I keep hearing from you that you've said a couple times through this episode is surround yourself with people you like or admire, or maybe a better way to say it is surround yourself with people that have your best interest in heart. And as I get older, it's like that's something I'm trying to nail down. Is this person have my best interest at heart? Or are they making me a better person?
Yes.
That's it.
Are they making you a better person?
Are they making me a better person? You know, because we've all had those friendships or those friend groups that were so fun. You might even miss it. Yeah. You look back and you're like, that was not the best version of me that I was trying to. We all have like those that version. Yeah, I'm sure you do, of like that ideal Chris.
Sure.
That ideal Mike. I want to grow to be that type of person. And is this friend bringing me closer to that or further away?
Yeah.
And you kind of harped on earlier, like we were joking, like, oh, I made decisions that maybe past Chris wouldn't do, you know, and it almost sounded like you were going to go down this regret path of like, oh, I should have done this more or that more. But I think ultimately the point you were making, and maybe I'm wrong, is like past you, of course, like want to be this rock star, but over the course of your life, you make compromises. And it's easy, I think, to be like, maybe get down on yourself. Like, oh, I made compromises, and if I just didn't, I would be a rock star. Or
you could have just gone back. I could have thrown a ball over the mountains.
I could throw a football over the mountain. You know, the old Uncle Rico, bit,
Yeah.
But then you start to go off this beautiful path of like, but I have a job that I genuinely love. Like, dude, you have a job you love. That's huge.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful wife and kids. That's huge. You still are a badass drummer. You're checking every box now, and I think it's hard that, and maybe it's on me for phrasing the question poorly of like, what would 17-year-old self want? And that's not what I was getting at. It's just like maybe a younger person watching this, like what advice could they glean for that? And you nailed it where it's like, do your absolute best, but like, don't be an idiot. like, it's like for all throughout my 20s, the only thing I wanted was like, I'm going to be a professional musician. I never saw myself being a professional videographer, and that's my job now. And I think God has his own path for all of us. And I'm like, this wasn't even on the docket.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more happy than where I'm at right now. I'm still making music. I'm still making music videos. I'm doing all the things I want to do. I'm providing for my family, and it's all working out. And I think, again, to walk it all back, you talking about surround yourself with good people. And if you do that, I think you have a good life ahead of you. And I think that's a really, really sound advice.
Yeah. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future, as they say.
Ooh, it's that? Yeah. And what's the other one? Like your accumulation of like the 5 people you hang around most?
Yeah.
You heard that one? It's like take.
I think from you.
You won't shut up about it. It's like, by the way, we should stop hanging out. No. It's like the 5 people you spend the most time around. It's like that's like you said, like that's your future. Like that's who you are. It makes you think like, I should maybe get better friends.
Better friends.
No, I'm of course kidding, but it makes you think like, am I pushing myself, or am I setting myself up for failure or success or whatever? Like if someone's 17, they could be hanging around just complete goofballs because that's what we all do,
Yeah.
But if you could slowly find that one friend that kind of pushes you in a better direction. You were for sure that person in my life when we first met. I was 23, I think, at the time. and you're 4 years older than me or so, something like that. So at the time, that felt like much older. You know, now we feel like the exact same age.
Right.
But yeah, when you meet someone who's just a little older, like you had a wife. Like, I had a girlfriend. Like you were an adult. When you can slowly build up that next level friend group, like that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as simple as like putting it in the band setting. The only way that I think I get better is by joining bands where everyone else is better than me.
Yes, be the worst person in the band.
Be the worst person in the band.
Yeah.
But with, of course, the drive of wanting to get better.
Be the worst person in the band. That's solid advice.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the rock star.
Right.
You want to be the person just, I can't believe I'm in this group.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a drummer. Because if you're the drummer, you're probably not Phil Collins writing music.
Right.
You're probably just joining a group. So if you're the drummer, try to be so fortunate that you're with this band. And then just try to up your game.
Let that drive you, for sure.
Yeah. Solid advice, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Just torturing my guest. Give wisdom. Yeah. This was fun. Seriously, man, you're a badass.
Thanks, Mike. You're a badass.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Never feel like it. And then seeing what you do every day is nothing short of inspiring. And I got a lot of respect for that. And I'm trying to grow to be more like that person. So thanks for doing this.
You're well on your way, my friend.
Hey, I'm trying. I think that's a wrap.
All right.
Let's do it. Cheers, my brother.
Cheers.
All right. Boom.
Blue pie.
Yeah.